Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, California Weather Watch. Today's July 1st, and right now we're looking at the satellite imagery with the sea surface temperatures here. And kind of gives you a nice visual diagram of why tropical storms and hurricanes do not affect the state of California here. You can see as they would move over this cold water, they would die quite rapidly here. Some in the history have tried to make their way up there, but they've been pretty weak systems by the time they reach there. And we do have this cold water current here off the Pacific Ocean that moves down the coastline there. And as it pulls away, you get this upwelling here. We bring this cold water from underneath across some of the central and northern California coastline here. But in turn, you can look down across Mexico here and you can see where the water is much warmer. That's why those tropical systems do develop there. A couple of tropical systems going on right now, but they are dying currently. Beatriz definitely feeling the effects of the land here, and Adrian is now starting to move off over cooler water. You can also see how that water warms up as you move towards the Hawaiian Islands there as well. Now you can see the mid-level water vapor loop. These systems do have still some deep convection with them, but they are overall dying for the most part. They should be both tropical storms right now, if you could even call it that. They're still fairly weak, but those should be on the downtrend. This is looking at Southern California. Check out the eddy there spinning off of Santa Barbara here. Pretty interesting looking at this technology here on the GOES 18 satellite imagery, and you can see some of those lower clouds burning off as we move through the morning hours here. This is looking at Sacramento, California. Look at Redding, 112, Chico, 108. Definitely warm coming up here, but there is some hope through the future here in our forecast that we'll check out. And if you want to beat the heat, get out towards Eureka or San Francisco along the coastline there. Now, this is looking at the heat advisory through Sunday. Again, some of the coastal ranges included in that heat advisory, excessive heat warning, including a lot of the I-5 corridor, a bit inland as well. This is the excessive heat warning here for portions of the deserts and Las Vegas out there. Look at Death Valley, 121. Las Vegas is going to be getting up around 110 here over the next few days as well. And this is for Phoenix. A little bit of relief here on Tuesday, if you can call it that. 116 on Monday, though. Very hot across the desert southwest. The monsoon not yet coming into play. This is looking at San Diego, and again, the coastal areas doing all right here. You got to go inland to get that advisory and the excessive heat warning there. This is looking at rain year percentage and normal. So let's go ahead and reminisce about what we had so far this year, July 1st through June 30th. You can see Santa Rosa, San Francisco, San Fran, Oakland, all well above the average precipitation during that year period. Don't confuse that year with the water year, the October 1st through September 30th there. So something to look back on there. Doing pretty well over the last year. Now, this is looking at national blended models. Check out these temperatures across the valley, up towards 110 for a lot of locations. Again, the coastal area is cooler. Deserts, Death Valley, just roasting right now. Summer is here. And we can scroll through a day at a time, and you can kind of see the the temperatures relaxing a bit here as we go on in through just after the 4th of July, and maybe a trough trying to set up here across California, suppressing the temperatures again. I know a lot of people would like to hear that. It still looks pretty warm here, but it's definitely not 110 degrees. This is looking at composite reflectivity, NAM3KM. This is what the Doppler radar may look like. If I put this into motion here, you can see just the slightest hint of maybe a shower popping off across the Sierra Nevada here, and then maybe again Sunday afternoon. But for the most part, the spigot is turned off, and we are very dry here across the desert southwest for at least the next few days. We'll take a look at the extended precipitation forecast here in a moment. San Francisco, look at this warm air aloft here, and that's actually warming up San Fran a little bit here, but you can see that that's going to be going away a bit, and we're going to deal with some pretty chilly temperatures here across some of the area, at least a little bit below average anyway, and that's potentially towards the end of next week, in towards next weekend. This is Sacramento. You can kind of see that those temperatures relaxing aloft, I should say, at about the 5,000 foot barrier, 850 millibars here. So we're going to relax these temperatures a bit with the arrival of that trough, and hopefully that stays in the forecast. This is McCarran. Not much difference, but a little bit of a cool down you'll notice on the 4th of July, and then through the following days, the warmest days being Sunday and Monday. This is Blythe out there as well. Similar picture there. Now, this is looking at the GFS ensemble run last night, 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. You can see the ridge here over California. Put that into motion. You see those tropical systems start to weaken here. Ridge hangs on, but then look, as we go past the 4th of July here, this is the 4th of July, July 5th, start to flatten that ridge out a bit here, and you can kind of see this trough setting setting up here on the west coast, and you can see that really trying to set up shop here a little bit here after the 4th of July. So we'll see how that trends over the next few days. That would be welcome relief there from some of the extreme heat across the valley areas, at least. This is 850 millibar temperatures. We looked at those temperatures above San Francisco, for example, and Sacramento. And as you put that into motion, let's go ahead and scroll ahead here. This is July 4th. Now we're into July 5th, and you can kind of see this trough trying to set up here and bringing those cooler temperatures aloft across the region. And we'll watch this over the next few days. No promises just yet. This is total precipitation in inches. The GFS goes out about 16 days. I'm just going to fly through this because you can see there's not much to talk about. Although after the 10-day period, you can see the GFS start to bring some of that monsoonal moisture, it looks like, here back across the region. The European is not in so much agreement here, as we'll look at, and you can see as we go through the 15-day period, not much precipitation showing up for Arizona there. So yeah, it looks like it's going to stay relatively dry here, as you can see. The good thing now about the European is it's higher resolution version now, too. On a side note, you can see this is yesterday's 0Z run. It goes out 15 days, and it's a high resolution model there. It only does that twice a day versus the GFS 4 times a day, but it is a very good upgrade. This is 6 to 10 day precipitation probability, and you can clearly see that drier than normal conditions here across much of Arizona, including some of California here. But you can see this maybe we'll get some precip out of that trough coming up here through July 10th. We'll see how that goes. And 8 to 14 day, the bullseye again here across Nevada. This is the temperature probability outlook through July 10th there, and you can see a lot of California there, a little bit below average signal showing up, and even in the 8 to 14 day forecast as well. So we'll watch that in these future runs, and hopefully that trough continues to show up in the forecast. Snow water equivalent across the entire state, about 2.7. We're slowly decreasing that, about the 85th percentile for snow water content across the state. Sea surface temperature anomaly. As we scroll through here, you'll notice some fluctuations actually drop back down a bit here. That's kind of be what happens. It'll rise up and drop back down a bit as we move through the fall and winter months coming up. But it looks like we're potentially headed towards a strong El Nino coming up. La Nina definitely in the rearview mirror. And this is the CFS updates daily, kind of still showing that strong El Nino likely to develop here as we go through the fall months. And yeah, so nice map here. Sea surface temperatures kind of gives you an idea of why tropical systems and hurricanes don't affect California for the most part. It's kind of a general rule here. You can see they need this warm water to exist. You'd need the perfect track and really have some anomalously warm water here across some of the Southern California coastline and across Baja there. You can see that cold water current there really bringing those chilly temperatures. It does start to warm up as you get out towards Hawaii though. But that's why these tropical systems develop down here. So anyway, yeah, we'll watch that trough potentially setting up in our future forecast. We'll see if it has any surprises for us, any kind of precipitation. You never know, but fingers crossed anyway. And we'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll